Hey guys, welcome to another episode of NICTALKS, the first in a very long time. I haven't done one in a while because I haven't had time, but it's a really good thing that I haven't had time because amazing things have been happening. Life has been fucking elevating for your girl, and I am fucking grateful. I'm grateful every single day for a lot of things. If you hear a dog in the background, that's my dog. I don't have I have a little bit of soundproof stuff in my house, but honestly, I don't, my PTSD ass just doesn't have the energy to be the perfectionist that I truly am inside. Jack, if you could stop panting near my microphone, go away. Every time I do something like this, he has to be in the middle of it, and it's so annoying. But anyway, I'm gonna start trying to do this via video. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're obviously watching this on YouTube and seeing a fucking video, because I got an iPhone now, and I am in the cinematic mode on this is really, really cool, and I finally got it to lock onto my face, and so I'm not out of focus. How cool. Maybe the iPhone gang switch over will be another episode of this podcast. But today I'm going to talk about actually the last topic I talked about, but we had technical difficulties, and I talked about it on Twitch, and we had a really, really good conversation, and it is all lost now because I don't know. Because I fucked up, but it's okay. This is yeah, so what I talked about that time and what I'm going to talk about today is like recognizing red flags in people the first time. And I'm trying to talk about like when your body is literally telling you, like giving you the signs of like maybe you should step away, you know? Because over the past few years, like I've had people fall in and out and in and out of my life, and I feel like I'm finally at a spot where I have a really good view of like who I really trust and who is my most intimate circle. And like your most intimate circle should be people that you feel safe with. Like always, but especially at this part of life for me. I'm 29, I'm turning 30, like I'm tired. Making friends is hard, and keeping them is hard just for everyone because, you know, friendships evolve and sometimes like they don't last forever, or they just aren't exactly what you wish they could be, but you know, that's okay. As long as you're keeping high quality of people around you. But like sometimes your body literally is warning you that you're in danger, girl. Like, you know, like your body is literally giving you signs, and a lot of us, we ignore them. Because especially people like me that are like abuse victims, we're used to not trusting our senses. Hey, stop it. Not used to trusting our senses, not used to like really believing what we see, because a lot of us have gone through gaslighting and stuff like that, where people literally made us feel like we were insane and literally made us feel like we couldn't trust what we were seeing or feeling, or like, you know, any of our senses at the time. And so things that I learned in therapy, number one, if you grew up in a chaotic environment, you're likely to attract more chaotic people into your life. As a trauma response, you will latch on to those toxic people, not because you want to be surrounded by toxic people, but because that's all you know. And so you will unknowingly seek out characteristics of people, like seek out characteristics basically of the people that contributed to you being so fucked up. So that's number one, right? And then number two, what the fuck was number two? See, my fucking memory. What the fuck was number two? Contributing to, you know, yeah. basically, I'll remember number 2 in a bit. That's my PTSD. Fuck with my memory. But yeah, like that's a trauma response. And we will make excuses to excuse away the awful things that we see, the awful red flags that we see going on with these people, because we think that we are not trustworthy. I look back on people that I just do not fuck with anymore, regardless of how they exited my life or I exited theirs. And I remember, I just look back, and sometimes you look back and you're just like, how did it go so wrong? Like, how did I let it go this far? What was I thinking? Am I stupid? Like, am I a glutton for punishment? What's going on? And I realized, looking back, that if I'm being really, really brutally honest with myself, I saw signs. I saw signs, and there were moments that I was very uneasy around these people. They would say things like, I don't know, like, I know I can be, things like, I know I can be very manipulative, or I'm always right, you know, non-ironically, non-jokingly, like, no, I'm basically, I'm always right, which nobody's always right. Like, I'm a pretty arrogant personality type. I will give you that, but nobody is ever right. And those things it set off an alarm at the time, but I just explained it away, and I just told my body that it was overreacting. Because I was like, no, because you think everybody is dangerous, Nikki. Like, you think everybody is suspicious. You are overreacting. And I remember learning about, like, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system in school. And, like, the sympathetic nervous system is, like, basically, I may be explaining this wrong, but it's the part of you that's present, you know, that's, like, making decisions, like, deciding to speak. It's, like, you know, like processing things. And then the parasympathetic nervous system is the part that controls, like, fight or flight. You know, it's the part that, like, it's very automatic. It's the part that tells you, like, hey, take your hand off that stove because it's hot and it hurts. That part. And I look back to times that, like, my parasympathetic nervous system was literally telling me that this person is a hot stove. And I didn't listen to my parasympathetic nervous system. I tapped into that sympathetic nervous system, and I was like, no, we're going to make a decision to ignore that based on past experience, based on me feeling like I'm crazy, and honestly just not being able to recognize like bad or harmful behavior, even though the feeling goes off because it doesn't feel right. But it's probably all you know. You know what I mean? It's all you know. And I think about the ways that I felt around those people. I would dread them sometimes coming over. Like, I would dread having to see them. And it's an automatic thing that would happen. And it didn't, like, always happen before, you know? It wasn't always like that in the relationship, you know? In times past, it would be like, yeah, I'm going to see so-and-so, and I'm going to have fun. And I genuinely meant it. But as time went on, and I think as I evolved as a person and just started, like, really focusing on healing myself and recognizing behaviors in myself that I didn't want to do anymore, my body started becoming anxious. I started having, like, anxiety attacks when going to see certain people, and I would explain it away. I'd be like, well, Nikki, you have PTSD. You don't like traveling. You know, you've never, like, you know, you have to take medication when you go on a plane every time. Like, you know, I had to convince myself that I wanted to go. I had to convince myself that I wanted to jump into an Uber, get into a plane, whatever, to see a certain person. And the thing is, like, when I'm going to see people that I love, that I genuinely enjoy being around, the part that gives me anxiety is not the thought of seeing them. It's just the journey. Like, it's just the traveling. But I realized that it wasn't the traveling that was giving me anxiety. It was the thought of having to be there. And that's and that was really disheartening that I had grown to feel like that about someone that I once considered close, and then B, like, the fact that I completely ignored that because I didn't trust my own feelings, and my body was telling me for a while now, like, we don't need to be around this person or these people anymore. We don't need to do this. Or like a person would be coming over and my heart would fill with instant dread. Like, I'd have fears of, like, being judged, of the things that they would say to me. Like, just the energy shift in the room of when they would come in. Like, these are things that I would mentally prepare for. And some things happened to me last year where I'm just like, I don't have the energy. I don't have the fucking time to for that to be something to worry about in my life anymore at all. Life is too fucking short and too long, both too short and too long, to be spending it with people that drain me. People that drain me, people that are not good for me. And I'm trying to learn how to listen to my body when it tells me that this interaction, this relationship between me and this person is over, or at least when it needs to be downgraded, and maybe when distance needs to be created. I'm better at it. I'm not perfect at it. I would love to be perfect at it. There are still instances in which I gaslight myself and I'm like, you're overreacting. So it's something that I'm still learning to do, but eventually it plays out that my instinct was right, that my gut was right. I like to say that the spirit knows things before the brain can register it. Like the spirit can clock things faster than the brain can take the information, process it, and be like, okay, this is a fact. Because it might take, for me at least, it'll take my brain a little bit longer sometimes to, like, gather information, right? Like, gather information about a person's behavior and be like, okay, based on this pattern, X, Y, and Z, maybe stay away. But the spirit, I feel like, and this sounds like woo-woo talk, kind of, because it kind of is. But the spirit, I feel like that's your gut. It's your gut instinct. And there is a sinking feeling, like a sick feeling that I get when I am confronted or I'm faced with dealing with someone that eventually just turns out to not be a good idea. Just in general, just like it's just a no for me, and it's just this uneasy, like, sinking feeling that is just telling me, like, Nikki, I don't know about this. And I'm trying my best to learn to listen to it, because that feeling has always been right every single time. Because I'm not perfect at listening to it, but it has been right every single time. My biggest example is my abuser. I had feelings. I had feelings that something was off. Not to say that there's anything that I could have done to stop what happened stop what happened to me from happening to me. Like, that is on the fault of the person that fucked me up. But I did have like the sinking feeling before anything even happened that something was off. And I think the only thing I can really say for that is that I wish that I had listened. I wish that I was in a place where I was able to listen to that gut reaction, because maybe I would have reported her sooner. You know, maybe I would have reported her sooner. Maybe I just would have trusted my sanity a little more, because she was probably going to do what she was going to do anyway. And sometimes I wonder if I could have spared myself any pain or suffering, but that's honestly victim. That's the victim blaming in myself talking for sure, I think, because there's nothing that would have stopped that. But I do recall like feeling a sinking feeling and then trying to push it down and be like, nobody's that evil, you know, nobody's that bad, nobody's that sinister. But unfortunately, life experience has showed me that no, people really can be that evil. People really can be that sinister. And while I don't think that I'm ever going to encounter anything like that again, I damn sure need to listen to my gut about people so that I can maintain my peace for as long as I fucking can. Because life is too short and too long to be going through more of these experiences where I let a person into my life that does not enrich it at all, but just adds more worry and stress. And the biggest part of that, honestly, the biggest and simplest part is just listening to your body, listening to my body when it tells me, that might be a hot stove, you know? So that is that. This is a short version of the episode that I actually did on Twitch like a few months ago. It was a long one, but I wanted to get this one out there in the open because we lost that episode, and I just wanted to get it on the pod. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. A little shaky because it's been a while since I hopped onto NICTALKS. And if you know me, like, I'm really not a big fan of notes, even though my PTSD makes my memory shit. So maybe that's something to reconsider. But in my rants, I don't fucking use notes. It's just not my style. And I don't know. Usually I can follow along with my thoughts, but sometimes I blank out, and you saw it happen. It just adds to the experience. But anyway, hope you like this. I'm gonna create a playlist on YouTube of these that are, you know, fucking filmed, so you can listen to it on here. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically wherever podcasts are casted. And make sure to follow me on my social media at Nikki Marina, everywhere: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. If you know me well, you know that my main space is TikTok for reasons. So that's it. Hope you guys have a good day. Hope this is helpful information. And I can't wait to get back together with you guys and talk about whatever the next topic is that I decide it's going to be. Take care, everybody.